Good evening. Welcome back to my channel. I had a long day at work, but I have been foaming at the mouth to film this. I'm just so excited. It's a traditional Q&A video. I decided to do this video for two reasons. One, I realized that my YouTube channel kind of starts in media race, in the middle of things. 5 years of Latin down the drain. And people are kind of left to their imagination about who I am and what I do. And two, I get a lot of DMs asking me about specific things, like what my job is. Who's Michael? What's Michael? Things that are outside of the fashion dressing up niche that I belong in. I absolutely adore how inquisitive this community is. I'm just extremely flattered too, because thank you for not commodifying me as a content creator. I took some notes and I put them in themed buckets to stay organized, and it's also great for your viewing pleasure. So if you're not interested in what I do in my career, but you're only interested in a design portion, you can skip to that. So let's dive in. Lily asked, what did you study in college? I was an economics major with a minor in business. Since I was 13 years old, I wanted to be a corporate attorney. I was always encouraged to pursue business. So I had this plan of pursuing a business degree and going into law school shortly after. There are little pebbles that fill up my vase of life. I had a phase in college that I am very proud of. I was obsessed with the NHL, specifically the Washington Capitals, go Caps. And the thing is, it wasn't just from a thirst perspective. No offense to heated rivalry fans, it was from an analytics perspective. I actively contributed to sports blogs. I watched the Capitals practice. I used to work part-time at Kate Spade, and during my closing shifts, I would watch them play on my phone. I mean, I laugh and I'm not ashamed or embarrassed, but it is so relevant to what I do today. I'm not in sports, but I'm just saying with the analytics. So anyways, I was like, I'm gonna become a sports attorney. I'd love to negotiate contracts. I'd love to handle PR. It's just what I love to do. COVID happened. COVID happened in 2020. I just didn't care for it. I just stopped caring about it. And I just lost this fervor and passion for it. I learned a lot of different things about different industries, and I realized that my world was so small because of what I was encouraged to do and what I was told by other people. And so I just didn't want to have to commit, and that's going to become relevant later on. So I studied economics, I minored in business, and I also graduated a semester early by changing my minor to business instead of pre-law. And I'm very grateful about it to this day. Also, I forgot to mention, I loved my sport law professor. He was phenomenal. What's so unfortunate about it all is that I don't watch hockey anymore. I don't even know who's on the Caps except for the most commonly asked question. Patsy, Rachel, Arabella, I think that says Evelyn. 3-part question: what, how, why my current job? I will say I am a PM specifically in predictive analytics. It's kind of hilarious to think a few years ago I was going to become a sports attorney, but I'm here. I mean, they're all kind of interconnected in a way. Analytics is basically pattern recognition. It's seeing how many times a number shows up, also putting it in pretty pictures and pretty tables, but that's not all what that is. I want to disclose, and I don't want you to be offended. Stop asking me specifically where I work. I keep this information private, and if you know me personally, please do not share that information. Also, people who know me personally don't watch my videos, so I'm not worried about it. It's to protect myself, my family, my peers who also want to live a very private life. I know some people disqualify people on the internet from having privacy, so just how I got my job. Anyone who wants to break into tech or products specifically need to remember what it really is at its core. It's solving really hard problems, being able to communicate effectively, and finding the right people to help you. I was really interested in product during COVID. I was wondering, why does everybody want this job? What's so appealing about it? Don't know who this creator is. She recommended for people who are interested in product to read the book, The Design of Everyday Things. It was like a pivot in my brain. That book is so relevant whether or not you're in a product or tech role. It's relevant in the way that you speak to people, the way you dress up, the way you move, the way you do day-to-day life. And that type of thinking really attracted me, and I wanted to execute it or perform it in some kind of way to show comprehension. I didn't have a computer science degree. I don't know how to code. I did take a UX UI design course. I never finished it because I just couldn't afford it, because at the time I was very unemployed. This is like maybe a year or two after COVID. I left my job, not to pursue content, but because I felt like that it was a wasted opportunity for myself and that I belonged somewhere else and that I needed to take a risk for myself. And that meant pursuing the one thing that really attracted me. I was living on my own, but my sister was my roommate, but older sisters always hold you accountable. I had to live off of my savings. It was the hardest year of my life, I would say. One of the most eye-opening year of my life. When you are put in a corner, it forces you to be innovative. It forces you to take risk because you really just can't lose anything at this point. Like, fuck it, right? The lesson here isn't to quit your job, live off of your savings, and not finish a UX UI course. The lesson here is to take a chance on yourself, use discernment, and figure out what you really want to do. Something interests you, don't ignore that call. Pursue that call. So much jib jabber. How did you get into product without product experience? You need to choose unsexy industries. You need to choose an industry that needs product people. Who needs product people the most? FAANG? FAANG? You think FAANG needs product people the most? I know somebody who's extremely smart, compensated well, loves their job, working for a maternity clinic. And they do product for that maternity clinic. I wouldn't say working for a maternity clinic is unsexy. I think it's very honorable and, you know, it's contributing to someone that is bigger than oneself. But you know, you get what I mean. And that's what I did. After that era of unemployment, I worked in marketing. There's an element of marketing that is design, copyright, making pretty things. And then there's the other side of marketing that requires budgeting, data analytics, and strategy. And that's the type that I did. But wasn't scratching the itch. Problems weren't complex enough to solve. It just wasn't for me. Company came up, I knew someone there, and I got referred for a sales role. I do not care if I need to scrub a toilet to work in this company. I don't care about how I will get into that room. I will get into that room. If I could sell the product, that means that would require me to interact with our customers, answer any of the questions they may have, troubleshoot if need be, and if I had that experience, then eventually I could ask about the product, the workflow, the process, and maybe break into product. Who knows? What are the chances? My current manager was an attorney at one point, and we connected over that about how we were looking to be attorneys and then pivoted. But the only difference is that he actually passed the bar, and I never went to law school, but I think we had fun kind of kikiing about that. But I told him I really wanted the job. I literally said what I told you. I will scrub the toilets to work in this company. I did go through like 3 panels of interviews, and I said the same thing to every single one of them. I will do anything for this role. I'm very passionate about solving problems. I want to work with great people. You have a great product. I'm interested in learning more. Let me in. I thought I killed this interview, okay? I was smiling cheek to cheek. They were laughing at all my jokes. And a day later, I get an email, and all I see is unfortunately. And I just remember just like holding my phone up, crying, and just like, Michael kept hammering me. What does the email say? He reads the email and he goes, Casey, they're creating a role for you. Turns out my charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent got me to trick my manager into thinking that I can become a PM. I use the word trick, but take it with a grain of salt. I had no product experience. I'm telling you, I had none. Knowing what I know now, I actually did have product experience because that's what it is at its core. Solving really complex problems, communicating, finding the right people to help you. That's what it is. I do that in every single role that I did before. And so to this day, I'm still learning. If you come in recognizing that you don't know everything, you will learn so much. People will want to help you. That answers how, I hope. Third part, why? I say this to everyone. I'm a sled pulling dog. People think because I have some kind of online following that I should just be pursuing content only. It is too early for me in the game to kind of just sit out. I really enjoy my job. I love being able to see my work and see my progress and contribute to something that isn't centered around who I am as a person. The most common misconception is content creation is my main passion. But there's this video of Hank Green who said, don't follow your dreams, follow your tools, or something like that. I like to adopt the craftsman mindset what can I offer the world? I really step away from using the word influencer because no offense to influencers. I mean, I love taking a pretty picture and I want to create content that really decenters me. Creating content that can exist without me. If somebody recreated the same video without me, would somebody be able to take away from it? Yeah, I hope so. I think I'm good at my job. I mean, if I don't respond to the positive feedback that I receive or the progress that I see, and I just keep mushing because I'm very happy to mush and I'm just having so much fun. So like, why stop? And money's good. Why say no to money? I'm not some kind of creator who has a mysterious source of income. I'm not gonna deny it. Very important question. If you haven't been paying attention, pay attention now. Claire asks, how do you balance content in your job, or how do you make time? When I meet people in person and they ask me what I do, I say I am a PM in predictive analytics. They say, let's connect on Instagram. We connect. I don't mention that I make content, and they see my page and they're like, why didn't you mention that you do this? Because it's a hobby for me. It's not this all-encompassing thing. And I have to read off of this because I really want to be coherent. Content doesn't have to be an all-consuming thing as people make it out to be. I am not Hannah Montana with this overwhelming second life. It exists alongside with my job, which I also equally enjoy. So instead of choosing between them, I let them support each other. I don't try to do everything every day. I make content fit into the time I actually have. There's a very popular narrative that people want to make content to quit their full-time job. The reason why I also love my full-time job while I pursue content is so that people can't pay me for my opinion. And this is so relevant because Galliano is back from retirement and is now designing for Zara. You cannot pay me enough money to do that. That's insane. And people are going to say, oh, you say that now. No. That's why I'm working now, so I have freedom in my choices. Michael would never let me sell out like that. I love the fact that I have two things that support each other, two things that garner my attention, and two things that I can contribute to and feel empowered by. And there are times where I don't make content. I don't post for a whole month because one, I don't feel like it, and two, I'm overwhelmed. And I'm not gonna grind myself into the ground because I'm just gonna not like making content. It's the same thing with my job. My job is way too much for me. Well, at least I get to go home and make a video that I'm very happy and proud to do. I hope that was helpful. I just want it to be very practical. I don't want to say like, oh, wake up at 5 a.m. or film immediately after work, or, you know, take a work, like, no. I'm not gonna deny that I do sacrifice some social time, some self-care time just to get a video out. But if you think about playing a video game that you really love, like right now I'm playing Pokopia, I cannot stop. But I could play Pokopia for 14 straight hours. It is just that good of a game and I enjoy it. I feel the same way when I make videos. And if that means I don't see anyone, I don't eat, I don't drink, I don't sleep, I don't mind doing that because I enjoy it. Do it for the love of the game. And if you want any more content advice, like that could also be a separate video. I'm very transparent about how to make content. I love helping people pursue their content. This is something I wrote on, this is my content journal actually. Bella and Edward. This is what this sticky note says. Value prop for Casey Cutie Pie. What is it about my work that is resonating with people? How can I do this for 10 years without getting paid? And if you don't like it anymore, just stop it. I don't know how much of this is gonna make into the actual video. We need to move on to the next topic. Next section, design, taste, aesthetics, personal style, and creative direction. Uma asks, how can one develop an eye for aesthetics in the era where everyone copies trends? Love this question, Uma. How observant of you. Active observation while being exposed to high quality design. The reason why people love Pinterest so much is because we are being fed exactly what we want to see. That algorithm is just so delicious. It doesn't allow you to see design in its natural state or its rawness, right? Let's do a thought exercise. When you see something that you like, whether it's a top, whether it's a food label, poster, the way the door is designed. What do you like about it? Is it the color? Is it the shape? Trends exist because it's safe. One person's gonna see a trend, they're happy doing it, they're accepted in society. 4 more people are like, wow, that looks fun and safe. I'm gonna do it too. We're all accepted in society, yay! That's a very passive approach to design. People try to call tabbies a trend. But to me, I think it's an amazing way that we were able to introduce the East to the West and take something that is functional and elevate it for a very specific aesthetic. That's great design. Not because I see everybody else doing it, they're being accepted, let me do it. For example, I love that split toe. I didn't know it had utility at first. I thought it was an homage to a doe's foot, and I was like, I want to walk around like a little doe. But then I learned more and gone down that rabbit hole and continued that inquisitive process as to why I like that specific design. That's what your thought process should look like. Jordan asks, how did you decide your style sense or direction? I have my mother to thank for that. The taste starts in the womb, but it can also be developed over time. My mother is extremely whimsy. My mom dressed me up and also showed me ways to exercise my uniqueness. That was always great to have in my upbringing. When I was 13, I started making my own money. I started working for my mom, and I spent $60 on clothes. I was like, wait, I can dress myself up now. Sewing a lot. Having that flexibility to think of something and just like sew it was a lot of fun. Fast forward now as an adult about what truly personal style is. The way that you can really hone that in, you need to enjoy the process of becoming. Personal style is a lifelong journey. I know now it appears that I kind of have like my sense of style put together. I have ways to go. I go through different stages of my life. I learn more things. When I first started posting on TikTok, it was my dream to have a collab with Urban Outfitters. And now I would never go near that store. Not only because of, fast fashion reasons, but because it just doesn't align with my personal style anymore. Now that I feel a little bit more settled into my adult life, I found kind of my career, I have a lifestyle, and all of those things feed into the way I dress up. 2-3 years ago, I dressed up very TikToker-ish, where the outfits were really good for the algorithm, but weren't very good for when I actually went out. The reason why I felt very costumey is because I wasn't leaving the house, I was unemployed. And the most important thing when deciding your direction towards your personal style is to live your life and to continue to move forward. Personal style is personal. It changes with time, it changes with your experience, and you just need to enjoy the process. And that's very cliche, but it's also very true. And that's why they always say money can't buy taste, because you have all this accessibility, but you don't have the story. Resources I recommend for learning about clothes, fabrics, fashion, etc. You need to learn how to sew. You need to learn how to sew. Going to fashion school without learning how to sew, jail. Going on Drag Race without learning how to sew, jail. I received these very specific questions about how I figured out tailoring and fit, and it's because I sew. I recommend going to a fabric store and just walking around, touching and feeling it and saying, so this is what cotton feels like. A great retail store to do this is actually Ralph Lauren, because there's just an emphasis on natural fabrics, and it's just a masterclass on understanding material and translating that into fit and drape. Ooh, this leather jacket is so structured. I wonder what kind of leather is it? You can learn how to sew at your local library. My mom taught me how to sew, or just Google sewing classes near me. That will teach you so much about structure, fit, and why things are the way they are, and it'll really make you appreciate why clothes are priced the way that they are. You need to make your own pair of pants before you complain why jeans are at least $200. It will force you to appreciate craftsmanship. It will force you to learn why materials are better with this type of piece instead of this type of material. Book-wise, there's a book that's leaving my brain. I borrowed it from the library. It's very easy. I'll put it up here. That's been such a great tool for me. When I tell people I love shopping, they think I like spending money and having things. No, I love touching things and taking pictures of things. There's this great content creator. He literally made a video about how to get a Prada jacket for like under 200 bucks or something. And he literally took measurements of the Prada jacket, took pictures of it, and just recreated it on his own. I'm not saying commit fashion plagiarism, but really just take your time in the stores. Ask the store associates questions too. They have to be very knowledgeable about the product in order to sell it. And if they're not, some of my favorite fashion content creators, Understitched on YouTube, brilliant creator, love his stuff. Bliss Foster is amazing. Mary's Room, I love her channel so much. Off the top of my head, that's what I have, but I'm sure maybe I'll put it here. There's a surface level value about fashion where they think it's just consumerism, when in fact it's culture, history, art. It's amazing. Also, the business side of fashion is fascinating and so much fun. I eventually would love to make a more like deep dive analytical video about fashion, but I do so much analytics at work, I kind of just... Clarence asked Fashion Week favorites. I'm gonna assume fall, winter 2026. Tory Burch, Polo Ralph Lauren, Issey Miyake, Chloe by Shimena Kamali, McQueen actually. I know people are saying that this isn't a McQueen show. I don't know much about McQueen, but I did really enjoy this show. And of course, Jonathan Anderson's Christian Dior. I'm very biased. Jordan asks, how to build a base of quality jewelry. The key word is quality. I personally cannot afford buying the alternative or the second best option of the piece that I really want, because I just don't want to have to buy it twice, you know, because I just know I'll have to pay for it in the end. I know people are asking me for a jewelry tour. I felt like Ariana Grande in the moment because somebody actually clocked that I wasn't wearing my engagement ring.
I'm just not wearing my ring. It's getting cleaned. I'm not getting a divorce. Before you start, don't.
I'm actually getting it reset. I was 21 when I picked it, so I was a wee baby child, and I have kind of a more better idea, and I'm very excited to show it to you. Do not wait to receive jewelry as a gift. There's something so gratifying and empowering as a woman to buy your own jewelry. Doing the research, finding something that you really like, and being able to wear it every day, and knowing no matter what happens, it is just a standalone slam dunk. There's also a key in patience as well. My wedding ring is from a smaller independent jewelry brand. I love that quality jewelry has become so accessible on the internet, and that now that you can kind of get a 3D mold of this and then decide, okay, I want this in gold, and then buy it off the internet. Establishing a relationship with your local jeweler is just priceless. It is priceless. Doing the research, finding a piece you like, establishing that relationship with that jeweler, getting exactly what you want, and nobody else has it. And remember, like, wear what you like. Gemma asks, any tips for home decor? Do not create a home that is meant to be perceived by the public eye. I say this because it prevents people from actually decorating the home that they really enjoy and like. I'm proud of the home that I currently have and, you know, continue to design, but it's the same thing with how to build a base of quality jewelry. It's patience and the accumulation of taste and story. Sometimes this may look great in an Instagram photo. Were the likes even worth it if it doesn't feel like your house? Most, if not all, of my furniture and or decoration are vintage. The only thing that I would say is pretty brand new are huge statement pieces like this couch, some of the larger pieces of furniture, my bed. What else is important? Don't shy away from color. It's not about matching, it's about cohesiveness. My armchairs are white, this couch is green. If I was playing it safe, my armchairs would be white, my couch would be white. But that feels like uncanny valley rather than appreciating that the textures are different and the contrast is healthy and it matches in a sense of shade and theme. Let people actually sit on your furniture. I'd rather have a lived-in couch rather than something that looks stiff that nobody can sit on. I saw somebody on the internet say this, don't be afraid to have a substitute item till you can actually get that item. I don't agree with that. Like, we didn't have a couch for 6 to 8 months because I just couldn't decide on the color. I'd rather really invest in my lifetime couch rather than buy a cheap couch just to have and then eventually get rid of. I can't afford that. I'm kind of tired, honestly. Mental health / wellness. Brandy asks, how do you stay disciplined? Reframe your mind. It is not about self-denial. It's about falling in love with the result post-activity thing you don't want to do. Some of you already know this, but I am a year and some change sober from alcohol. When I chose to stop drinking, I didn't use the words, I can't drink, I'm not allowed to drink. No negative words. The way that I reframed it was, tomorrow I get to wake up early and spend time with my family. I can go exercise. My head won't hurt. I'm a Taurus, I'm very stubborn. I don't like someone saying no to me. And my biggest op is going to be myself. And so when me telling me no, I don't like that. And that's how I stay disciplined. Also, I'm not a perfect person. Consistency does not equal perfection. There's a common misconception that discipline means getting up every day to go to the gym rather than I'm gonna go to the gym twice a week this week. Maybe it's just once a week this week. Maybe it's just 3 times. I'm back to 1. That's consistency. That's not perfect, but it's still consistency. And it also shows you're disciplined because you showed up anyways. There are so many things that could have kept you from showing up, but you showed up anyways. And that's way better than not showing up at all. I would say you're pretty disciplined. Give yourself some grace. Nymph says, kind of cliche, how do I deal with anxiety? I don't think I have debilitating anxiety compared to my siblings, but I still do suffer from anxiety. I'm gonna give you a cliche answer because it is a cliche question. Breathing helped me so much. There are external meetings that I've had in person that wanted me to drive my car off a cliff on my way to that said meeting, but I ended up being okay because I just gave myself really syncopated breaths throughout the car ride, and I ended up being okay. After work, when I feel so overwhelmed and there's just so much to do in my head, I just know that I have to stop and breathe. It forces you to be in tune with your body and focus on your breath rather than your thoughts. I love the Calm app so much. I have a free subscription through my company. The guided breathing and meditations are great because I tend to see my thoughts and then hang on to them and just like go. But in the guided meditations, they advise you not to hang on to those thoughts, right? And this is the least cliche answer: accountability and self-awareness. Don't borrow tomorrow's troubles. When you acknowledge your source of anxiety and that you are feeling anxious and you're like, wow, I just need to stop, what's the problem? Can you control it? No? Then don't worry about it. What's the problem? Can you control it? Yes? Then what's the problem? And that could be very helpful. I think it depends on your personality, but I just like grabbing the anxious thought and just like looking at it and just being like, stop. I know that looked really insane in the moment, but that's exactly how I feel. And it just disappears. It really just disappears. But that, again, comes from years and years and years of practice. A lot of my personal anxiety comes from the unknown, comes from wanting to control the outcome of the future. You can't control the outcome of the future. You will not know the unknown until you get to that point. So it's kind of a why bother? Next question. Lucas asks, what keeps me sane at work? Gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. There are people who would not only want my spot, but also will do a much better job just to prove that they wanted my spot so bad. And that's not coming from like a scarcity perspective. It's coming from, I'm so grateful that I was picked to be here. I get paid to do this. And I'm not saying that anyone who has a full-time job should like practice gratitude and life will be better. There are alarming things that should be paid attention to, like a toxic workplace, non-fair wages, unsafe work practices. But for someone like me, it's just practicing that gratitude. My dad worked 2 jobs to support us as a family, and I'm in a space now that I get to choose my job. I can follow what interests me and what pushes me to learn and grow. Another thing that actually keeps me sane, I'm constantly growing and evolving at work. If I felt stagnant or if I wasn't learning anything, I would go crazy. A lot of people aren't really fond of their job too because they kind of feel like they've lost control. Totally understand not everybody has the same work circumstances as me. But if you have the feeling that you've lost control, that's when you need to get up and just grab life by its reins and just steer it back on course. You are in control of your life. Andrea asks, what inspires me the most? People who follow through with the things that they said they would do. If you said you were going to be the best break dancer in the history of breakdancing, you go do that, and I see you do that, and maybe you're not the best, but you're like, I'm gonna do it anyways, you inspire me. People who are passionate about what they do, who just wanna go on and on and on about what they do day to day, that energy is just so infectious. I just wanna be around people who are action-oriented, who love what they do, and will do what they said they were gonna do. That's very inspiring. That's why people love athletes so much, because they're doing things that are beyond what we could imagine the physical body could do. And they're winning. Sorry guys. Anna asks, how are you so eloquent? I'm a theater kid. I still have all my scripts, and so when it's time for me to speak, it's time for me to speak. Also, another source of Pavlov conditioning. When I was very young, I read a lot of books and I started to emulate what the books would say, and a lot of adults loved that, and the little people pleaser, little punk I was, I continued to speak in the way that gave me the most positive feedback. Now that I am in a corporate space, that's applauded even more, so I guess I'm just stuck in this cadence of language. It's prison, actually, it's prison. The other part of that is a lot of writing and masking. I mask a lot. No name for this one. How to deal with disheartening, nonchalant people. I love this question. That to me just screams low effort people. These people do not matter. They don't matter. They're mad because they're doing nothing and you're doing everything. Believe people when they show you exactly who they are. Don't try to match their energy or go down to their level. It's just not worth it. There are people who are not disheartening, who are so chalant about who you are, that those are the people who are worth keeping in your circle. I've wasted so much time with people who are low effort, nonchalant, disheartening. It's drained the life out of me. And when I finally had found my people, man, did that change my life. I didn't even know people like that even existed. These people do not matter. And if they are your family members, I understand you have to be cordial and it's very basic, but you just have to let them go from your life. You have to. How they treat you does not define who you are. It just shows exactly how they are. For people like us who are high effort, we want to constantly try to make it work, but believe people when they show you exactly who they are. Don't try to overcompensate. Just last question because I'm fading and my camera's about to die. How do I stay motivated? I stay honest with myself. I write down what I want for my life and I take a look at what's required to get to that point in my life. Thought exercise. If somebody were to follow you around who had an objective perspective about you for a whole week, followed you around for a whole week, saw your day-to-day, what time you went to sleep, what time you woke up, how you brush your teeth, what you eat, what you do in your free time, what videos you watch, everything. At the end of the week, you told them what you wanted for your life. Would they believe you? Based off of what they observed about you. Oh, I'm not trying to say there's Big Brother watching, but it's a way for me to hold myself accountable. So when I look about what I wrote about what I want for my life, and I just don't know how to get there or what to do, the most important thing is to just try and to just do. I'm motivated by the pillars that I've written for myself. That's just a natural motivation. I'm not gonna try to force myself to do things that is just not important to me. Whether I know exactly what that requires, I'm motivated by the idea that there is some kind of progress. Whether it's just a little inch, you need to keep trying, and not only just to see progress, but just so that you can keep learning as a person. Sometimes it is hard for me to get up and do something. Even film this video, I'm so tired right now, honestly. You probably can tell. But I know exactly what I want. And if that requires just making this video, I'm gonna do it. Also because I want to, I love the game, but also because I know exactly what I want. There's no really true motivation required to do this thing. We've reached the end. I hope you got to learn a little bit more about me, and thank you so much for watching. It is a joy and a privilege to be able to make these videos and to have people be inquisitive about my life and enjoy the things that I make. Thank you so much. Okay, I'll see you in the next video. Maddie asks how I met my husband. It wasn't just Maddie. Michael and I are in Arlington and we are in a parking garage. I'm walking in the parking garage. I see Michael in the corner of my eye, and this guy is 6'5" and I am 5'3". I do not want to be near this man. It's dangerous. He is a stranger. The elevator door to go up out into the street is lagging and Michael catches up to me. How unfortunate. I have my AirPods in as a way to deter strangers from talking to me, but I wasn't playing any music so I can pay attention. We go up the elevator in silence. I'm just looking at him. We go out and I hold the door open for him. I look behind to hold the door open and then I see him, and I'm telling you, this guy, he adorable, literally. Wow, I was gagged. I was like, whoa. This is my type physically, okay? I didn't care if he was an awful person. I wanted him to notice me and I wanted to know him so bad, okay? Call me shallow, but physical attraction is very important to me. It's January and he's wearing shorts for some odd reason. Whenever we're sharing this story as a couple, he goes, "It's 60 degrees in January. Still, don't wear shorts." Well, I ask him if he's cold as an icebreaker, and he goes, "No, are you?" I say, yes, I'm freezing. So where are you from? Are you from Virginia? Are you from, a colder state? This is a way that he needed to gauge that this man was based in Northern Virginia. I was not going to fall in love with a man where I'd have to have a long distance relationship with him till we eventually got married. And he said, no, he's actually from Northern Virginia. We actually got into a really good conversation. We exchanged email addresses, and I remember texting everybody in my family that I had met my husband. And as cliche and corny as it sounds, this is the only guy who has ever seen me for me. I felt like I met an old friend. We connected over books. He told me he was really into computers. It's so annoying. I'm just thinking about how annoying I was. And I said, oh, really? I read this really great book. It's called Future Crimes. It's a wonderful book. I highly recommend you read it. But I said, hey, I'll loan you the book. Hook, line, and sinker. If I loaned him the book, that means he'd have to give it back to me. So to be fair, he actually texted me, here are some of the books that I would recommend. Let's just trade books instead. This is a great way to figure out if your future life partner is a creep or a weirdo. One, see if they read, and two, what books they're reading. I chose something, what is the book called? I'm blanking. Who?
7 Habits.
7 Habits? Of highly effective people. Okay, thank you. Are you eavesdropping on me? And with the book trade, that would require us to see each other often to talk about the books. I want to tell you, everyone, Michael and I never hung outside of school till we started officially dating. I guess our anniversary of us dating is March 7th, 3 sevens. I told Michael, we can't date unless you meet my parents and I meet your parents. What a little baby, because I was so scared, because this was my first boyfriend and he's older than me. He was very respectful and we did it all in one day. I met his entire family and he met mine, and they were really excited because it was, who was the guy who got Casey to be interested in them? He. It's gonna be our 3rd year married, but we celebrated 6 years of being together just recently. He's the best, and he's the reason why I feel like I can do it all, because he really helps me with everything. If I tell him I had a really long day, he'll cook and clean, draw me a bath, and rub my feet. He's just really the best. And that's why that man will have a baby.